The Lions recently, some rumors going around. Jameson Williams could be on the move. Now, as we talked about before the show started, guys, this is not a legit rumor. This is just a guy who wrote an article that sparked people talking about it, okay? Let's start there. Nothing real has come out of this yet, okay? Now, here's a little bit of a little thing to think about. This same guy tweeted out a article back in the day saying the Lions should trade TJ Hawkinson, and they traded him 2 weeks later. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he knows something. That's just kind of fucking crazy. Like, you made an article saying they should trade him, and no one knew he was being traded, by the way. Like, when that happened, I think I can speak for everyone. You didn't know that was going to happen, and if you say you did, you're fucking lying, because everybody thought TJ Hawkinson was the one guy on that team that we could use for the future. Like, that was legitimately the idea, I think. At least I had that idea, that he was one of the building blocks, and we traded him. Now, does that mean we're going to trade J-Mo? No, just something to think about. You know, the same guy put that article out that's put this one out. However, Lions fans are going to hate to hear this, but it's possible and it's realistic. Okay, I mean, we've had the conversation on this pod many, many, many times now. The Lions do not have money. They don't have capital anymore. They don't. Does it make sense that not this year, not next year, but the year after that, we're going to pay Jameson Williams fucking probably $45 million a year? I don't think so, man. I mean, unless he comes out and has himself an 1,800-yard season like a Jamar Chase or something, there's no fucking way he is worth that money. I'm sorry, but he's just not. Like, especially when your quarterback's Jared Goff, who, again, I might get crucified for this. He's not that great at throwing the deep ball. He's just not. Especially when you got a guy like J-Mo who is a certified burner, okay? So with all these things being said, I would not be that surprised at all if Jameson Williams is traded. Do I think it's going to happen this year? Definitely not. I just don't see that happening. What I think is most likely is the Lions have until May 1st to pick up his option. They will probably do that. Brad Holmes has said they will probably do that, and I think it would make a lot of sense because it's probably going to be like $15 million, something along those lines, whereas you probably have to pay him $25-30 per year. The only reason you don't pick that up is maybe you try to get him at a cheaper number than you would a few years from now because the cap keeps going up and that kind of stuff. But I think most likely Jameson Williams gets traded on draft night 2026. That's my prediction. That's what I believe because I just don't see Brad thinking to himself, yeah, I'm going to sign a guy who's played one good season to be the third highest paid wide receiver in the NFL when he's not even the number one receiver on our team. Okay? And I know he's fast. I get it. I fucking get it. He is fast. Fast as fast can be, buddy, but the NFL is full of fast dudes. It's full of fucking elite speed guys, okay? There are fucking, let's just say 100. There's probably 100 wide receivers that get drafted every single year. If there's one position that's expendable, it's that one. I'm sorry, it just is. And I know a lot of Lions fans are going to be pissed hearing me say this, but I personally, if I had to choose Kirby Joseph or Jameson Williams, it's Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch, Jameson Williams. It's Brian Branch. Sam Laporta or Jameson Williams. It's fucking Sam Laporta, buddy. I'm sorry. He's better at his position right now. Now, does that mean I hope we trade him and I think we should trade him? No. I hope we keep him. I hope we work something out. But you never know, man. These things are fluid. It's the NFL. Like, if any player is going to be traded, that's one of our young guys, it's going to be J-Mo. I don't see anybody else. And I also don't see a way that we keep everybody. So let me ask you this, listeners. Would you rather keep Jameson Williams for the next 2 seasons and he walks in free agency, we get a third-round comp pick back? Or would you rather trade him draft night 2026, get like a second and a fourth or something from, I don't know, Tennessee or New England or some shit like that really needs wide receivers? Go draft another receiver with that second round pick. You get some more defensive help with the 4th round pick, and you save money. Just contemplate that. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think. But with that being said, James, I'll pass it over to you. I know you're a huge JMO guy, so I'm kind of excited to hear your thoughts on this.
You shouldn't be. Jamo is my favorite Lion. Uh, he has a role on this team, on this offense, that no one else can fill on the roster, at least currently. We don't have another deep ball guy. He is one of one, and that's not a pun on him changing his number to one. Although, slight side note with that, one, I would say, for the last 3 years is the number of death for the Lions. Just off the top of my head, and I did not research it, but I'm fairly confident in this. I don't believe we've ever had a player wear number one in consecutive seasons. I know Cortland Sutton was number one, then we got rid of him because of his arrest and whatnot. And then number one became Maurice Alexander, our reserve punting kick return man, who I was a big fan of. He went to Chicago and followed Ben Johnson, and now JMO has it. So the last two guys that had number one all left after their first season in the number one. Doubt there's anything to that, but I have noticed the pattern. On top of that, to what fuels and what I think started the whole rumor is the receiver from Texas. I'm trying to find Matthew Golden. He was in town and had one of his 30 official visits with the Lions, and he would be that guy in the play style that would replace JMO. But in my opinion, for what it's worth, I would rather draft a guard, an edge, a D tackle, depending on if it's I was going to say a certain player, but let's just say Derek Harmon. He's the only D tackle I'm really looking at least at the 28 spot, if he's there. Or Grant, but I don't think he'll be there for the record. But I don't see us getting rid of JMO. I don't see us trading JMO. I see us extending him to a long-term contract. I don't think he'll cost as much as you were saying, though. And I mean, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But I see this as somewhat of a Jamar Chase and T. Higgins situation where Higgins just got his new contract, but he's only making, and it only is a loose term, but he's only making 25 million a year because he's that wide receiver too, while Chase is making over 40. With St. Brown already making 30, I think you would only have to pay JMO 25, maybe a little higher, like 27. And yeah, that is, I will admit, kind of right at my border of would I or won't I. But if the number is somewhere in the 40s, if he's asking for Chase money, unfortunately, you just got to get rid of him. As much as I love him, it is a business. It would kind of remind me of when we got rid of Golden Tate back in the day. I loved Golden Tate, but he wanted a big raise. He was due a big raise, and we didn't have the money. So sucks. It's a shitty situation, but it is what it is. The writing was on the wall, and what happened happened. I would hate to see this become that scenario, but if he is demanding that top end dollar, then it probably is what's going to happen. I can see plenty of teams wanting him. I know you mentioned a lot of people have like game breaking speed, and that's true, but JMO is one of two. The only person I would put in JMO's speed category would be Tariq Hill. And they're just on that other level. Like, don't get me wrong, Gibbs is fast as hell. I think Gibbs has better acceleration, but I think JMO has that top end speed that very few, if anybody, can compete with. I mean, how many end arounds or Hail Marys that he's caught that he's jogging by the 20 because he's already beat his guy so bad. I would hate to lose him, but I trust Brad Holmes. And Brad Holmes, I trust. He has not given me a reason to not. I know Brad Holmes loves the guy. He traded up 20 spots in the first round for him originally. So, I mean, everyone's got their price. One of his first moves when he became the GM of the Lions was trading away their franchise quarterback in Stafford. I mean, if you're going to give me three first round picks, which obviously a receiver won't go for that, but if you're going to give me a hell of an offer I can't refuse. I mean, we'll see what happens after that, but I would not be even like calling to see what he can like go for. I would start talking to him, let him know like, hey, if you're interested in that like T Higgins size contract, I would see what we can do to get that done personally.
Yeah, and I totally get that. The one thing I will say is like T Higgins almost makes as much as Amon Ra does right now, so I don't know if I really want to do that necessarily. Like you said, I think 25 million is probably my highest number for JMO. I'm not going any more than that. The one thing I will say is, look, man, I'm gonna get cooked for this. I know it. I don't know. I don't buy the whole Jameson Williams is the fastest guy in the NFL. I just don't. I don't see it. Like, where do you see it? Like, if I'm being real, what play did he look like the fastest player in the NFL? The 70-yard touchdown against Seattle last year, maybe. Like, and even then, it's like he's fast, but I don't know if he's really like I mean, he's definitely top 10, probably top 5, but without the numbers, without being able to, for instance, Jameer Gibbs, right, was in the top 10 twice last year for ball carriers in terms of max miles per hour. Jameson Williams was not. If we're talking about speed, I think that's the best way to quantify it. How fast he was running at his fastest. Jameer Gibbs was faster last year. I just don't necessarily think that JMO being fast is like enough to make him an elite receiver, I guess is what I'm saying. Like he's a very fast kid, but how fast we have yet to see, I feel like. And also, like I said before, with Goff being on the team still, sort of knocks that down a notch for me, but that's neither here nor there. But with that being said, Brad, I'll pass it over to you. If you got anything to add.
As far as with JMO and the elite speed, he's got elite speed. The Chicago long pass, the end around in the Washington game, the San Francisco game with the hook and ladder. I mean, dude, the guy. I mean, you could go back and watch. That's just off the top of my head. I mean, I could probably think of a lot more, but on the end arounds, it's a wrap. The only end around that really cost him was when some dipshit offensive coordinator thought they were going to put the season in a wide receiver's hands with a glove on his hand to go and throw a fucking pass when the fucking season's on the line. But hey, Ben Johnson's a fucking genius, isn't he? Anyways, um, he's got elite speed. I'm not going to say first, second, third. He's got elite speed. At top 5, top 10. It's whatever. There's a lot of guys out there that've got elite speed, and he is definitely one of them, though. As far as like we said with Hawkinson and with Gold and Tate, the franchise was in a lot of different positions back then. Okay, they were not in any kind of mode to win. Now they weren't, especially with Golden Tate, but with Hawkinson, no kind of win now. With JMO, you need a win now. If you trade, say you trade him, all right, this year, and you take Golden with the 28th. All right, well, guess what? That pushes everything back down. What I mean by that is it's going to drop your guard. It's going to drop the edge that people want so bad. You're not going to get those guys at 28. You're going to get them now in the second round low. Okay, and those are not exactly game changing guys. Why would you take a wide receiver at 28 because you traded a proven wide receiver? I think they're going to let JMO go after his contract is up. Take the third round pick. That seems to me the most pragmatic. You are guaranteed a third round pick, and you get Jameson Williams for 3 more years. I don't think they're going to be able to re sign him. They just can't. And Jace, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There is not, I mean, he is he's the odd man out. And he is my favorite player, and he's got the boy-like qualities, the kid-like qualities. He goes to the Tiger games. He's sitting by himself, or he'll have a fan sit next to him. He goes and he hangs out, at the Coney Island and on 6 Mile and Kercheval. Okay, I mean the guy, he loves being here. He's honestly, and for all his own intents and purposes, he's had a rough life. Okay, so he really hangs on, and this city's embraced him. okay? And he feels like a family member. And when he leaves, it's going to feel like a family member going off to college, okay? Because he is going to leave, all right? But hopefully he leaves in 3 years. And another reason you can't let him go is, guys, is what happens if we know about injuries? What happens if Brown goes down? What happens if Jesus Christ, Patrick, he goes down? Okay, we're not. It's like the guards, and people disagree with me on that one, guys. We're not deep. We're not deep. So, you know, they if they want to take a guard, if they want to trade up into the second round again, all right, and get a receiver, I don't think anybody should be like, holy shit, okay? Because like I said, you're gonna. I mean, who is going to replace one of those three guys if they go down? What if two go down? Guys, we've seen it all happen last year. So don't be ready for anything, man. Anything. You got to keep JMO. I mean, you have to. And you got to draft. I mean, shit, I just said don't take a receiver 28, but you got that guy from Arizona that drops. You know, I, I don't think Golden is the right fit there. I think Golden would be a guy that they trade up in two to get if he drops. Yeah, I would do that. I would do that. I think, in those silly little mocks that I've been sending, I want the Boston College defensive end. If you want to trade down and trade down, realistically, I'd love to get a Landon Jackson and two more picks and one in the top 50, another one in the top 100. But they have to go edge first. They have to. I'm sold on that now. You sold me on it. If you told me what we'd have to do, edge, guard, receiver, corner, then another edge. Okay. Ideally, that's mine. All right. So there's one guy, Jason. I want to get your thoughts on this. Tesla, not the car, Tesla from Arkansas. And it's not just because this guy went to Arkansas. So it is a coincidence, but it does make you think it's the Matt Jones kind of thing. All right. I like this Tesla guy. I really do. He's a red zone option. He's a guy that can be over the middle. He can get the 50-50 balls. I like him. And if he's there in the third round, you swoop him up. But, I don't want to ramble on. JMO stays until his time is up. We don't have any depth. He's a guy that can break out. He's breakaway speed. They use him in so many formations. And again, it wasn't just Ben Johnson. It was Dan Campbell. All right. And it's not that I got a hard on because he left or hard on because he's comparing his dickhead right tackle to Penei Sewell. He's overrated. We gassed him up. We all say Dan Campbell. He's got, they all show the South Park with his balls in the in the wheelbarrow and stuff. That's Dan Campbell. That's Dan Campbell telling Ben Johnson, these are the plays that we could come up with. I'll tell you when I want to call them. So don't give me that bullshit that Ben Johnson's some genius. He's not. But with JMO, he's dangerous at any point, anywhere on the field, at any point. He's dangerous. So I don't want to go off too much on that. Damn it, guys. Edge, receiver, and guard. Those are the three biggest needs. I wake up in cold sweat seeing Amon-Ra St. Brown, the same goddamn ambulance that Aiden Hutchinson was in. All right, because then if you really want the season to be fucked, there you go. So with that, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, and good points there, Brad. I will say the stats side with me. Jameson Williams is not one of the fastest players in the NFL. James, I know you just sent me that where he was the fastest in Week 14, but he is not in the top 20 of the season. His Week 14 was his fastest, and he ran, and I'm going to say only, as if I can do this, he only ran 20 miles an hour, right? The top 20 for the year are all above 21 miles an hour. I know it's a small discrepancy. I'm just saying, if he's fucking elite of the elite, if he's the best of the best, he should be on that fucking list. Period. Like, it's really that simple. Now, that's also ball carrier speed, so things are a little bit different. He might be a little bit faster when he's running his routes and things like that. However, you mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs as not being as fast as him. Jahmyr Gibbs is in the top 10 twice, like I mentioned. Over 22 miles per hour. I'm sorry, he was over 22 miles an hour once, almost 22 the second time. Now, you mentioned Isaac Tesla. I am a fan of his. I am. But I'm glad you brought that up because there was another receiver that I just drafted in my mock draft, in my 32-man live mock with 32 different users, 32 different GMs. It's not just like one of those mock draft simulators or whatever. So I found Dante Thornton Jr. from Tennessee. Okay, I do like Tesla, but I like this kid a little more, I think, and here's why. Okay, 6'5", 208, 4'3". Okay, he's got hands. He is a kick-ass blocker, dude. He can block his ass off. Okay. The only thing, not only, but the only thing that's a big red flag about this kid is his route running. That's coachable, I think. That you can fix. I drafted him, and this is the only thing that I'll say about my mock draft. I drafted him in the 4th round. Okay? If we can draft that kid in the 4th round this year, I would feel a little bit better about moving on from JMO. Also, it was a good point in the 2nd round. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions do draft a wide receiver a little bit earlier than what we're expecting. Not even just because of JMO, but because we need another one. I mean, realistically, I could see us drafting one. However, this is not the right draft to do it. I don't think this is a very I don't want to say mid because it's not a bad draft. It's just not like the last few years where we're seeing, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round fucking wide receivers play pretty damn well. I don't think we'll see that this year. I think we'll see, a more regular sprinkling of wide receivers that are pretty good throughout the draft, but I just don't see many studs getting drafted like an Amon-Ra in the 4th round. But on the Isaac Tesla front, I wouldn't be mad at him in the 4th round either. I mean, either one of those guys. I just like this kid because he's got that deep speed or that deep threat speed. He could kind of take over JMO's role in a lot of ways. Obviously, he won't be the same ball carrier in terms of rushing as JMO because of, he's a way bigger guy. But I just like that idea. But with that being said, James, do you have anything to add?
The only thing I wanted to add to that is, you asked like name a play where like JMO's speed really like stood out, and I know the vast majority of the Lions fans repressed this game, but the San Francisco 49ers game in the playoffs for the NFC Championship game, I think it was an end around or a screen. He got the ball behind the line of scrimmage and he just fucking took off. And you're not wrong with the top speed. And I don't know if I'm reading too much into it or if my fandom potentially is getting in the way. But as I said before, there's times where he is breaking out on either a deep pass or an end around, yada, yada, yada. And then he starts jogging from the 20. I almost question if he even got to top speed or if he knew he was breaking away and he just coasted after that. Um, but once again, like I said, I can't prove that. But the thought crossed my mind. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and I mean that makes sense. The only thing I would say is that they would have tracked the speed, so they would have tracked his top speed. It wouldn't just go to where he started slowing down. So like I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't really think it changes anything. Now, on the play that you talked about, he only ran 18 miles an hour. So just to think about that, it's not even one of his best from the last season, let alone ever. So I know the speed might seem like this is the thing, okay? And I don't mean to go on a long tangent about this, but this is a common misconception when it comes to sports in general, right? A lot of people, right? You're ball watchers. You see the ball, where's the ball? That's where the ball goes. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people don't take into account all the things that happen before that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, JMO might have looked super fast on that play, but my guess is the defense got faked out, took a fucking false step. The whole defense took a false step. And I mean, when JMO's that fast, you're not going to catch him. You know what I mean? So I would assume that there was some end around, not some end around, but there was the end around, and then there was some sort of like action with it that confused the defense. And that's why it seems like he was running super fast, but maybe the defenders were just farther away, whatever the case may be, just to put some context into it. So with that being said, we will move on from the JMO conversation for now because I'm sure this will come up again at some point. However, some NFL stuff going on, and to kind of go from Lions to the NFL pretty smoothly, Jalen Ramsey, okay? And I know we brought him up before. What the fuck? Why? Okay, and why? Why do we even think to entertain the idea of bringing him onto this team? He's not a culture fit. We ain't got the fucking money, brother. We ain't got the picks, okay? And we just signed like 4 fucking corners in free agency. We drafted 2 last year. If we did this, I would be like, is this motherfucker gonna play edge? Because that's the only thing that would make any sense, you know? And I haven't seen too many people talk about bringing him in. It's just one of those things that I've seen it a couple times, and I'm just like, this seems like one of those things where it's like the Myles Garrett situation, except Myles Garrett was actually a need. It's the same. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it seems to be the same people who are, okay, this guy got cut or this guy happened. Let's go get him. Let's go get him. Why not? Why not? Why not? And I know we've talked about it on this podcast many times. At the right price, anyone can be brought in. Totally. Totally. Jalen Ramsey is not the right price, okay, at all. If he gets cut and he'll come over here for $4.5 million on a 1-year deal, sign me the fuck up. But he ain't. That ain't happening, okay? What's most likely is he's going to get traded to like Baltimore or some shit like that, a decent team, Kansas City, who has a little bit of money, who really needs some help on defense. Baltimore, in my opinion, makes the most sense. They had a pretty rough go of it last year on the pass defense front. So I could see that making some sense. They got a little bit of money. They could, I mean, it won't take much to get him, probably a 4th or 5th round pick. You know, and he's a good player, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying people are stupid for thinking that we should bring him in. What I am saying is it's just not a realistic option. I mean, if we can't fucking keep Zadarius Smith, we ain't adding Jalen Ramsey. It's really that simple. So, with that being said, James, I'll pass it over to you if you have anything to add.
Not really. I had a back and forth with someone on X today about the potential addition of Ramsey, and you are correct. Money wise, the current contract, zero chance. Like it's not, I border on saying it's almost not even worth the conversation just because of the price. However, as a player, I do think he fits rather well in how we could use him. You would have to play Madden and turn salary cap off, but he would be a true tried and tested number 1 corner. I think he would help Terry and Arnold stay at the number 2 spot, let him adjust while he's not covering uh, Justin Jefferson and those kind of guys. Not saying he's incapable, but that's just a lot to ask of a year 2 guy. And I can just kind of see why people would look at the roster and see why we could plug and play him there. But as you said, with the money, it doesn't make absolutely no sense. We would have to cut probably 2 starters just to afford them, and then we have even more holes even after that. So, yeah, long story short, not happening.
Yeah, and that's exactly, exactly like you said. I also think a lot of people just see the name and forget how old he is and that he's not Jalen Ramsey on the Jaguars anymore. He is not even Jalen Ramsey on the Rams anymore. He is Jalen Ramsey that really should move to safety. I think he'd be best at safety. His instincts, his intangibles. I always felt like he could have played safety coming out as a corner anyway. So I think he might be better off switching positions. But with that being said, Brad, you got anything to add?
Yeah. Well, first question I got is Miami. I mean, they to me at least, they got to be in full rebuild mode. I mean, first they lose their left tackle. All right, now they're talking Tyreek Hill, could possibly be gone. Ramsey out. I'd like to know what kind of game plan Miami's got. I think they're kind of in limbo right now and almost in purgatory. So, I mean, you got Tua up in the air, which you never know. I mean, we always say one good hit and a melon squashed. Well, his melon's been squashed a few times. Um, that's the first thing comes to mind. What are you doing, Miami? Second thing is you're right. The age factor is definitely there. It's and then on Twitter you see guys get released or guys that are all of a sudden on the trade block through the Adam Schefter stuff, and then you see the little memes or the little gifs for our Lions fans. Gotta have some. We gotta have. Oh, we gotta have. Oh, gotta have. And you see the little Squidward down there, with the red like hell going. Look at that, Brad. Look at that. Shut the fuck up. All right. I mean, it's like if fucking I don't even know if Stephen Jones got fired, first thing Lions fans would be, oh, we got to bring him over here. Oh, we got to bring him over here. It's just like, give me. They're like those little Latino boys selling the chiclets when you go on vacation down in Cabo. All right, just stop annoying people. So, but no, he, of course, first thing you hear the ear ring, oh, Jalen Ramsey. Then you really, for those of us who are sane, and I'm not sure I am anymore, but for those of us that are sane, it's do some homework behind it. This was Jalen Ramsey 3-4 years ago. Yeah, there's some capital that needs to be spent. And he needs to be over here. So we've got to choose wisely. I think you're gonna see after this draft, you're gonna see I've said it before. You're gonna see where the draft is. We could have a Zadarius Smith back here. Hell, we could have a Von Miller back here or over here. I think we're going to see, there's going to be some moves by Brad here after the draft. And I think there's going to be some moves here after June 1st cuts. Or they make the cuts, and I know sometimes that's procedural, but they also make cuts at June 1st and also in training camp. Let's remember the cuts come down to training camp. So he's not done. He's got a little, you got to do a little spackling here, a little spackling there. I see I see a semi big move coming after the draft if he didn't get what he wanted, shopping the draft. So that's all I got.